Welcome to another edition of Your Daily 5. I'm your host for today, John Colucci, Johnny Scan, and we're going to take a look at a very interesting concept in today's marketplace, and that is acceleration up on wider bars. So look at the concepts involved here. Acceleration, rate of change, wider bars, ATR. So we're combining momentum with volatility. Let's see what we get when we do that. In order to scan for that, we have a very simple scan, and that is a lot of comparisons here. We're going to start with the idea that today's ATR, ATR1, is greater than the 10-period ATR, essentially the average over 10 periods, times 1.25. In other words, 25% greater than the 10-period ATR. It's got to be a decent-sized bar to overcome the ATR 10 times the 1.25. Second thing is we want a positive rate of change in the background. The background rate of change here is 10 periods. So the 10-period rate of change, ROC 10, greater than 0. Next key is how do we demonstrate acceleration in this process? And let's say, for example, our 5-period rate of change is greater than the 10-period rate of change, again, times 1.25. So 125% of the 10-period, that's what we have to get over on a 5-period basis. So we're actually saying the 5-period rate of change needs to be swooping up with wider bars at the same time. We're going to rank all these by Scooter because Scooter is really a great way to rank since it's relative strength, and we would expect that the widest, highest bars would be up near the top because they're showing more movement, hopefully, than anything that we're ranking against in the Scooter rank. Now, note, very simple group command here is leading us off. The universe of stocks within which we're going to scan is just the S&P 500. So who is jumping up on greater momentum in the S&P 500? It's all going to be as of last Friday's close. Let's take a look at what happens when we run this scan. When we run the scan, we get, scan map first. Almost forgot about the scan map. As always, if we can sketch out and identify what we're looking for, that can help us assess the visual results. So here we want the ATR1, represented by the orange line, to be greater than the ATR 10 plus that little bit of extra 25. That might be a little off on scale, but nonetheless, that's what we're looking for. It's got to be bigger. Today's bar has to be bigger than the 10-period times 1.25. Our rate of change is greater than 0, and our rate of change over 3 periods has to be greater than the rate of change over 10. Of course, that's times 1.25 also. Notice we did not ask that the rate of change for 3 periods has to be greater than 0 because, of course, inferentially, if the 10 period is greater than 0, we're likely going to have a 3-period that's greater than 0 because it also has to be greater than the 10, which, of course, is greater than 0. So we can infer something from the syntax we're using. We don't necessarily need to put in every concept if the concept we're searching for is included within the context of other syntax. Let's take a look at what happens when we run this scan. Out of 500 potential candidates, there are 12 stocks that meet this criteria, and we're asking that those be ranked according to Scooter, and we do see that the daily Scooter score is in our far right-hand column over here by the downward blue arrow. We see that we did receive the largest Scooter value first, all the way down to Essex Property Trust, which is a 5 on the scooter scale. That's out of 100, so it's quite a low scale, low value there. But we'll go through 5 of these stocks and see what we have for scan returns. So when we look at our first stock, Steel Dynamics, steel, commodity, up on relative strength. Scooter values flattening out. It's quite high, 99.2. One of the things with scooter is basically can get jammed up against the ceiling limit, and we do see that here. Diagnostic value at that point, a little bit more limited because we can't really pull a decent slope off of it. The slope of that line is almost 0 because it's flat or near flat. But we see here a big swoop up on a rate of change, and we have to compare the 10-period average of the ATR with this particular bar here, which itself is wide, but not as wide as other bars that we see on the chart. So remember, the ATR1 is today's ATR versus the ATR over 10 periods times 1.25. Interesting challenge here. We'd actually have to do some math and see what those values are. You can put the ATR on the chart and see what happens there. Also, might give you some additional clues. So, everything looks pretty interesting here. Breakout, and of course, acceleration, greater volatility and acceleration when combined could lead to breakouts. Here we have another breakout from a small structure in the GE stock. Here we see a wider bar, high close, nice acceleration up. So we definitely see that acceleration and a wider bar overcoming prior resistance at the 81.18 area. Very interesting chart there, and it's precisely what we're looking for. So remaining features of the chart, OBV up in all time frames, the 50-week moving or 50-day moving average up, positive cross over the 200, and we're just starting to get some positive slope on the 200 also. Very good signs there. Our relative strength up. Our scooter value has topped out at 98-ish, and that is very, very strong. So not a lot of room to go up there, but nice slope over the past 2 quarters. Here we have Viatris, well, can't even pronounce it, Pharma's company, and interesting formation above the 200, positive cross 50 to 200, upsloping relative strength, as well as an ambiguous OBV at this point. But look at what we have, a large gap up, which counts as part of ATR, and have fairly tight action over the last 2 weeks, indicating that very likely that our current bar ATR is eclipsing the milestone on the 10 period, and this gap up has provided us with nice acceleration there into a potential breakout. Look forward to seeing what happens with that stock. Our next one, Rockwell Automation. Here we have an upslope following the 50. Look at the support on the 50 in the last week of the last calendar year and into the couple days of January this year. Very nice, following that rising 50 right up. Here we have a structure. We're up and over prior overhead resistance and possible reverse head and shoulders formed in this area, with 348 to 350 is our prior overhead resistance from late 2021. We may indeed see a trip up there. This is in the industrial sector, which has been performing well, and it certainly is a favorite of Professor Bruce Frazier's. Got to pay attention to that at all times. So here we have wider bar, the black bar quite wide too, but we're really comparing relative to these 10 prior bars as the ATR10. Actually, the overlap, there is an overlap. We did not offset the ATR10, so everything is measured from the same starting point, which would be the date that the scan is run. Very interesting chart there. Let's take a look at our next one, Parket Hannifin Industrial Machinery, another one from the industrial sector. And here we have a wide bar after some tight action and a bounce off to 50. Here we have overhead resistance in the 319 area. We did close over that slightly on a nice bar with high volume, and scooter value is slightly degraded around 73, not horrible. Relative strength is up and OBV is up. Positive slope in all of the time frames that we have there. So very interesting for the Parket Hannifin chart here. Looks like it is indeed what we asked for. So there you have a scan that looks for wider bars and accelerating price action based on rate of change. Take a look at running that one yourself, see what comes up for your results. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Johnny Scan, and this is your Daily 5. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.